Hey everybody, we are back. It is the conclusion of day 2, Thursday, San Diego Comic-Con 2019, and we're going to try and keep this rolling. Last night we did a kind of a quick look at the day, talked about some things experienced just for anybody that's interested out there on YouTube to kind of just map some things out and give some thoughts on what's worth what and things like that in terms of time investments and fun and strategies and all those things. So starting out today, we started out the day and basically we had two separate tracks there. Carmel went to hit the floor. Her goal was to go to Fig Pen and Hallmark. Those were kind of the top ones. She was also maybe interested in the Jim Lee Mattel signing and all of that. And then I went to the Hasbro press breakfast. So that's a very different thing. And I just include pictures of kind of the swag bag stuff that they give us. This is the bulk of things. They give you a bag that kind of has something from each of the items there, but really not at all relevant to any of the Comic-Con stuff, except for as we do pick things up, we try to be as just honest and transparent about as many things as possible, because I know before we started covering things, people would pick stuff up and I'd be like, how did you get that? And I just didn't understand. It's like, oh, sometimes people just give you things and stuff like that. So because we went to the Hasbro breakfast, we were lucky enough to get, and it's just a random assortment of things that they give us. So not relevant to anything, except for I was not on the floor at open. So Carmel was kind of giving it a go on her own. And for us, our strategies normally with the floor at Comic-Con in the morning is she will go to a set spot, like a Hallmark, for example, or a Del Rey or a Fig Pen now, or something like that. And I kind of go just kamikaze wherever and see what I can pick up and find in terms of swag. But since I wasn't on the floor in that way, and yesterday was my Hasbro day, we really haven't done a lot of like rope drop type swag hunting. It's been a little bit more kind of gradual throughout the day. And for her, she basically ran into a dead end at Fig Pen. She chose to give sales a try for the floor, which she has not, and I have not done for a while. We've been kind of sticking with the Ballroom 20 side of lineup. And they did not get moving until about 9:15, 9:20. And by that point, it was really too late. So she ran into a dead end at Fig Pen. She ran into a dead end. They were out of the wristbands or whatever it is, the tickets at Hallmark. The Jim Lee signing was done. Just basically everywhere she went, it was like done. So she kind of struck out. I believe she referred to it as going 0 for 4. So by the time then I made my way back over there, she did say that Hallmark was going to allow people to grab potentially things that were left at 12:30 and not needing a ticket. And so when we headed over there at 12:30, they did have they had a few items. Actually, we tweeted it out, and it seemed like within like 5 minutes of tweeting it out, everything that was kind of the hotter stuff was gone. But we were able to pick up our Ewok, so we still need the Enterprise, debating on the Spider-Man ornament, but we got at least our Ewok, so we got at least one of the 3 or one of the 2 done, so we'll continue pursuing the rest as the weekend goes on and see what we can do there. So we're pretty surprised, though, that they had that available at 12:30, so something to keep an eye on. It's been pretty consistent. Hasbro, it sounds like they had some major issues over there today. The 2 o'clock slot, I know, wasn't allowed to even line up at 2 because they were so backed up. I heard some Hasbro employees talking about that they had some stuff that they were going to fix for the next day. I don't really know what went off the rails there, but we have seen consistently people allowing in, even over at the Funko SDCC booth, we heard from some people that were allowed in at 6 o'clock without a ticket. So, I mean, a lot of times we are trusting things that we hear, I should say, see as people tweet it to us. But when you see 2, 3, 4, 5 people tweet the same thing, you start to say, okay, that seems like that's likely. So something to keep an eye on with all of these booths is kind of checking back in, seeing what's available at them later in the day. Over, I believe it was row 500, we tweeted that out as well. We found just a nice run of 2 booths that just had tons of $5 to $10 trades. So we picked up Astonishing X-Men number 2, it's the Whedon run, and then V for Vendetta. Surprisingly, we just don't have that one. And those were each 7 and 10. So that was nice, and they had a ton of stuff from Image, Marvel, DC, things as recent as, you know, Marvel Now stuff and Rebirth and stuff, and then some more classic things as well. In terms of picking up some swag items, went by the Marvel booth, picked up another poster there, some little kind of, you know, bookmarks, nothing too exciting there when we went by. We did find a big stack. They had basically a box of the Vader Immortal posters on the ground next to Del Rey, which is a sign of take 'em free posters. So not sure that we'll ever frame that. We'll probably use it for a giveaway or something like that. Bill Sienkiewicz, they were doing the same thing as last year that they did with the Halloween poster. Is you could go by, they scan your badge, and they give you a poster there. not to me anywhere near as interesting with Dark Phoenix because didn't really love the movie as the Halloween one last year, but still was a nice one to pick up. Last year, if you are in love with this poster and for some reason want several of them, just an FYI, they did give out like, I don't know, hundreds of the Halloween ones at the close on Sunday. As it came to those last 5 minutes, they were just like, please take these, and we're handing out stacks of them. So we have a bunch of the Halloween ones that we use for giveaways and stuff. Obviously not super exciting, but picked up a couple of the Entertainment Weeklies with a cool cover and all of that. Now, in terms of some off-site stuff, we headed over, we did do the Watchmen offsite. It was a pretty weak offsite. You basically go into a transformation chamber. It takes about 2 minutes, and they just take a picture of you and kind of animate it and send it to you of your transformation into Dr. Manhattan. So I really do like the pins quite a bit, but you know, your mileage may vary in terms of how long it takes because it is one person at a time. And so at 2 minutes and about a minute to get set in, you're talking about really 3 to 5 minutes it seems like it was taking per person. So we did hear from people that it took as long as an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so for us, it took maybe 10 minutes because we had a press appointment, and that still felt like it was almost too long. Definitely not too long for this, but just, you know, a warning there. Then we were able to check out the Pennyworth offsite. Well, again, it was a press appointment, and again, always being very transparent about these things because, you know, people say, oh, is it worth it? It's like, well, you know, is it, how much of a time investment is it worth for you? There are things, you know, that we do that we think, oh, this is really cool for not having to wait too long. Well, now Pennyworth was a lot of fun, I would say, regardless of wait time. But at the same time, I don't know at Comic-Con, when there's so many things to do, how much I would have invested. It's hard for me to put a finger on that. But it is a big old interactive theater kind of setup. If you're familiar with Sleep No More in New York, it's in that vein, not at that level, but in that vein where it's kind of an open world, multiple rooms. You wander in, you talk to characters, you can play blackjack, you can meet some of them and ask them what's going on and get more into what the world is. At the end, they gave us a pin. I believe you have to sign up for, you have to download the app for Epics to get this. So a pin. Then there was a character that you interacted with that gave a postcard. They were pretending like they were making the postcards, and then they gave us a 6-month subscription to Epics. So that was all kind of fun on the way out. We also went over to the Orville experience. Now, the Orville experience, you know, a clarification on that. It's called the Orville Experience. I'd say it's more of the Orville Museum. It's really cool and neat if you want to check out the costumes, props, masks, all sorts of really great stuff straight out of the movie. I'm sorry, out of the TV series. You can take some really cool photos. There's, you know, you can touch the weapons and hold them and pose with them and do different things. But there's not really much in the way of experiential stuff. It's more about kind of taking photos of the things and some photos with yourself in. But it's more of a big Orville museum, and they gave us a book, The World of Orville, on the way out, which was a nice little pickup there. So cool things there. You know, one thing just on the note of swag in general is, we've said it for a few years now, is it's just become very clear that at Comic-Con, the companies have really, they want to get something from you. It's not all that common anymore that they're just giving things away. We did pick up some of the Sci-Fi bags. Sci-Fi was out in the streets off 5th and giving out all sorts of fun stuff and doing cool performances, and that still does happen, and sometimes they're just handing out t-shirts. At the Orville experience, they were just kind of going out into the streets and giving people t-shirts and stuff, so it does happen. But I think this is what we find is more common, is let us see your badge and scan it, or enter, or sign up for a credit card, or sign up for a streaming service. We heard with the Twilight Zone that there's a pretty cool bag, but you have to sign up for CBS All Access, and if you're already a member, that doesn't matter. I'm not sure, we haven't investigated that ourselves, but we did hear that. We've heard the same thing with DC Universe, which we've not investigated either. We're members with DC Universe, so I don't know, though, that there's anything we can access, or it's just what they already have. Then lastly, Hasbro, we show this again just to kind of show things that picked up, but also to talk a little bit about Hasbro Pulse. So Hasbro Pulse, you know, we talked about using that to have our preview night access, but then they also have the Hasbro Pulse Party, and it basically went up, they let everybody know that was a Hasbro Pulse member. You got an email, and I forget, it was like going to be 1 p.m. or around 1 p.m. on this random day, and then you got on there and you're refreshing, and ultimately the link went up. So Carmel was able to get in in and register as a Hasbro Pulse member. I was as well, but then they revoked my ticket into the party because they said that they had I won't say oversold, but over gave out. So a really nice consolation prize was they basically gave everybody whose ticket they took away $100 towards Hasbro Pulse items. So I immediately went online and bought some Marvel Legends and some Star Wars Black Series, and they're being shipped as we speak. So really cool consolation prize, although I was very disappointed I couldn't go to the party with her. And that said, at the party, she was able to see a few things. One, she won, I won't say it's the grand prize, but a pretty cool prize out of the raffle. This was her prize, this giant, they called it a press box of all sorts of fun stuff there. Also, she was able to get a Power Ranger autograph. So on hand, they did 2 announcements, which I don't know how much that matters for a lot of people, but for us also covering. So we were there, or she was there because she's a Hasbro Pulse member that got a ticket. But obviously we can do kind of dual service there and be like, okay, well, let's also cover it. Let's also, get a video of it and throw it up on YouTube. So Deadpool with Hit Monkey, we have that video up there. And then the Transformers ones, which I haven't even looked at what that video was yet. Carmel put all that together and threw it up online. So it's up there now. I need to go watch those reveals myself, guys. I have not had time to even click on those. But, the Hasbro Pulse, it's an interesting situation because I guess if you told me, looking at 2020, it's going to be whatever, $75, $100 for Hasbro Pulse, but you will get preview night, Hasbro at San Diego Comic-Con, and you'll have a chance to go to a party, and maybe you'll have access, not likely, but maybe you'll have access to some other exclusives, for example, Celebration Anaheim or something like that. I would say, okay, I would probably buy the membership again. Now, in this case, we didn't pay because we got it when it was a free trial, so we've had it. But really, outside of what we've experienced at Comic-Con, it hasn't done anything for us. We didn't have access for anything with Celebration. We haven't used it just for the free shipping or things like that. So, it's been kind of up in the air, but I would say I'm thinking our leaning is that we will get one for next year. But I was very surprised they threw this party. And I think, if you throw a toy party, people expect to get toys. It's a part of what, Funko Fun Days is such a big hit is people love, it's just about throwing toys at you pretty much for the entire time, or maybe not the entire time anymore, but for a decent chunk of time. So I was really surprised that they didn't get like a swag bag coming out. So she won the raffle, which is awesome. And she got this, and we saw somebody come out with the big Infinity Gauntlet and some other stuff. And so there was definitely winners in there. But it seemed everybody's kind of prize, if you didn't win a raffle, was basically a poster tube with some cool posters. I mean, the new Sith Trooper had a cool Black Series poster in there and stuff, but nothing that really blew me away. When I was waiting for her to get out, I was just kind of standing in the lobby area, and I was waiting to see everybody come out with like Hasbro bags with at least a couple figures. I figured everybody would get, basically a couple of these types of figures, and that was not the case. So I'm surprised that they didn't go bigger with the Hasbro Pulse party. But it is what it is, and so kind of wanted to add that in. If you are considering a membership, if you're not sure, if you're looking at it, I think we've shared about as much as we can. Maybe we talk a little bit more about it on the podcast, but I think for the most part we've shared all we will on video talking about Hasbro Pulse and kind of the options there with that. So a good day all in all. Excited to hit things again tomorrow. I'm excited tomorrow. Wednesday I had to get in the line for Hasbro, so that was kind of the thing calling. Thursday, I had to go over to the press breakfast, which again, very fun, but I do love just getting on the floor and kind of running around and exploring. So I'm very excited about Friday to do that. I think Friday and Sunday will be the 2 days where I'm able to just be on the floor and hunt things down and find swag and stuff like that. So I'll do that, and hopefully if we can keep things going and not get too tired, we'll continue doing these wrap-up videos for anybody that's interested in watching them. So we'll wrap up here. If you're at San Diego Comic-Con, hope you're having a great time. If you're watching from afar, hope you're enjoying that as well, picking up some things online, maybe stuff like that. And if you're not interested at all, you're probably not watching this video. So we'll wrap up here, and until next time, we'll see you at Comic-Con.